Hi, I'm Quenton.
And I'm Michael.
And this is Season 3 of the Prospects for Success podcast, where we bring you our thoughts on Prospect League baseball and beyond.
Observations, interviews, and a few surprises.
Let's get started with Episode 5. Today we are going to be talking about some of the unwritten rules of the game of baseball.
All right, so there are some questions that came up recently while we were at a couple of games, one in particular that we might going to mention here in a bit, that besides all of the written rules to baseball, and there's a bunch, that there are, and there are ground rules for certain parks, certain things that only apply in certain stadiums based on, where the ball goes or some things like that. But there are some unwritten rules to the game of baseball that we've run into over the years. Baseball has been played a long time. And so I thought we might talk a little bit about some of those unwritten rules and whether we think they still apply or not. So Quentin, which one of these do you want to start with?
All right, let's get started with a pretty easy one to talk about. Do not intentionally walk the potential winning run in the ninth inning or later.
Oh man, we saw this one happen. This one's more about strategy really than the rule, but we saw a situation actually happen where a pinch hitter came off the bench, and ninth inning, he was the potential winning run. Men were on first and third. Well, the runner on first, who was actually a pinch runner, I think at that point, he steals second. So now first base is open. So now you've got a question here as far as strategy goes. You've got a power hitter at the plate who can end the game with one swing. You've got first base open. But if you walk him, you're putting the winning run on base. And it's like, it felt like it was dangerous either way. Now, in this case, they intentionally walked him. They put him on to load the bases and take the bat out of his hand. But that team still ended up winning. The next guy up hits a run scored, and then the next guy up hits a single to score two more runs and win the game. So the guy that they intentionally walked ended up scoring the winning run. So what do you think? Was it good strategy and it just didn't work out that time, or do you just follow this rule? It's like, no, you never intentionally walk the potential winning run in the ninth inning or later.
Well, yeah, I do think it's all about strategy. I mean, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to call out the two teams that played against each other in this, just because it was the full count rhythm against the Chillicothe Paints. Felix Polanco, power hitter, got walked. The next person behind him so happened to be Eric Colasso. Now, yes, it is all about strategy, but going into that game, I don't think the full count rhythm realized that Eric Colasso is a clutch hitter. He was very good in his college school that he played for.
He was like the division player of the year for his division.
And I guess sometimes you don't really know that going into these games, but yeah, going into that position, yes, I think what the rhythm did before Eric Colasso hit that ball was smart. Walking him, I know it's an unwritten rule, but it was like 1 out, 2 outs. You only had to get 1 or 2 more outs. And the power hitter, you walk the power hitter, but at that state, it's the bottom of the ninth, and the bases were actually, I think, loaded at that time. And you just don't do that to get the bases loaded and then walk in a run.
Yeah, see, that's where I'm kind of at. I'm not sure there was a good way to go on that one. I think they were in trouble whichever way they went. They were in trouble if they pitched to him. They were in trouble if they put him on base. So, I mean, they kind of rolled the dice. They took their chances, and it didn't happen again. If the same situation happened again, would they Would they do it different next time? Maybe so. Would they have different results? Maybe not. So that was a case where, the unwritten rule tells you don't walk him, but they're in the moment. You're like, man, the guy that I've got up, what matchup do I like better? If it happened again, you might say the same thing. You might say, you know what, I don't want Polanco up there with a chance to hit a home run to end the game. I'll take maybe again I'll take my chances with Colasso. That's a tough one to say for our unwritten rules. What do we got for the next one?
All right. Do not stand there and just watch a home run that you just hit. Just run the bases.
Oh, this is a big one. And this is one that has changed a lot. I mean, people have like signature bat flips now. There are celebrations. We've even talked a little bit about how some of the, in another episode, we talk about how using props and having celebrations used to be no way. That was not something that you would do. But now it's like, you know what? It's loosened up a little bit more. Let them have some fun. Let them enjoy that a little bit. Get some props. Celebrate those home runs a little more. But is this still one that you don't do? You don't you hit a home run, you don't stand there and watch it, and because it's kind of considered showing up the pitcher, and the catcher, if he sees you doing that, he's going to yap at you when you leave, and then you make your 4 left turns and or your 3 left turns, and you're going to be right back there, and he's going to yap at you again when you get back, and you might get a fastball thrown behind you the next time you come up. So what do you think about this one? Is it just hey, look, I did something good, I get to celebrate a little bit, or is this, you're showing up the opponent there, and it's some in the category of poor sportsmanship? Do you get to watch the home run that you just hit?
I mean, yeah. We've seen people just watch it and celebrate their home runs. There was a game in Pittsburgh. Derek Dietrich watched the home runs.
Kidding.
And that's the thing that you don't do. Because, one, you're putting you and your team at risk. You hit a home run, you watch it, pitcher throws at your teammate. Hits him in the, let's say, back area or rib cage area. Or you come up again and you get thrown behind you. That's just something you don't do. And I feel like with the celebrating, like, that's not doing anything. You already hit a home run. You already know that you're good enough to hit a home run. You don't need to say, look at me, I hit a home run. I feel like when you already hit a home run, you already feel good enough about it. Just don't sit there and watch it, because you're putting a lot of your teammates and yourself at risk when it comes to sitting there and watching a home run.
All right, now this is where what I would say a written rule comes into play. Because now, in just about every level, you have the designated hitter rule. Up until just a few years ago, the National League did not have the designated hitter. So if you were a starting pitcher and you yapped a little too much at somebody, or you threw a little too far inside on somebody, you were going to come to bat. And there might be a fastball, coming a little too far inside at you. Without the DH now, you got to pick somebody else on the team. It's like, who's the one that's going to get the retaliation for that. So if I'm standing there and I hit a home run off of you, and you stare me down and you throw at me the next time up. Well, you know what? You threw at me. Now my guy's going to throw at you. But with the designated hitter rule now, it's okay. We're going to pick somebody else in the lineup, and you're going to. And honestly, it kind of like fights in hockey. People take a little bit of liberty, and you send your enforcer out, and they send their enforcer out, and they drop the gloves and mix it up and kind of settle it themselves. Is it better? Is it better for the game? Does it make the game actually run better for the players to clean this up themselves, or should it end up falling in the laps of the umpires? And with the prospect league, you're looking at maybe a 3-man crew that has to do all that to maintain order.
Well, yeah, especially with the prospect league being a 2 to 3 man umpiring crew. I don't like it's questionable. You could have them settle it themselves, but you don't really see a lot of drama happening in the prospect league. I think there was like maybe 2 years ago, Alex Ludwig, sorry, really got chirpy at a catcher. They were chirping back and forth. They had to be settled. But that's the only really thing I've really seen like chirpy happening in the prospect league. And I mean, yeah, you'll have, you know, bullpens and, you know, dugouts chirping at each other. And you'll have pitchers chirping at batters once in a while, but you never actually see a full-blown fight. And I think that's kind of a good thing in college, especially when, you know, your future is kind of in stake there. But no, I don't. Maybe they could, if they had like a 4-man crew one day, they could let the players settle it themselves. But with a 2 to 3-man crew, no, I think the umpires should just handle it for now.
All right, let's take a look. What's the last one we've got on our unwritten rules of baseball?
This one disappoints me. Do not bunt to break up a no-hitter.
Yeah, this one is a wild one too, because I'm not sure where this one's got some gray area to it. If a pitcher's got a no-hitter going, and really this only kind of applies to the late innings. I'll talk about that here in just a second too. But like if it's like the 7th, 8th, 9th inning, and a pitcher's got a no-hitter going, and he throws a pitch, and you try to bunt to get your way on, the other team is not going to take that very well, whether you make it or not. I mean, even if you make an out, they're going to take your number. And if this is not the last game of that series tomorrow, you can bet there's going to be a target on your back because you tried to you bunted to try to get on base to try to break up a no-hitter.
I mean, yeah, especially with a lot of the speedsters coming into the prospect league, like Tyler Shaneyfelt, Gabe Wright, all those speedsters coming into the prospect league. You can bunt. I see where the speed comes into play, but not on a no-hitter, because if you have I get it if it's like a 1-game series, but if they're in your division and you have a lot of games against them in that season, that's a no-no. You don't do that.
Well, so here's my question then. What's really the difference between bunting in the 7th inning when a guy's got a no-hitter going and bunting in the 1st inning? Because if the guy's got a no-hitter going in the 1st inning and you try to bunt for a hit, aren't you doing the same thing? You're just doing it in the 1st inning instead of in the 7th?
I actually like that question, and my answer to that question will be that's different. Because if it's in the 7th inning, right? If we're talking about in the 7th inning, late in the game, the pitcher has actually worked on that no-hitter that whole game. If it's in the 1st inning, he's fresh. He hasn't had a chance. There's not a chance that he's worked on it. But if it's maybe in the 5th inning or 4th inning, yeah, I could see that. But 7th inning, no, I don't really see a difference in the 7th and I can see a difference in that, but if we're talking like 1st to 3rd, there's no difference in that. But late in the game, when a pitcher's actually worked on it and actually have worked his butt off to get that no-hitter, I could see that.
Oh, guys, I think if you've got wheels and that's part of your game, bunting for a hit is part of your game, I don't care. I think that's fine. Go ahead, do it. I realize it's one of the unwritten rules, but I absolutely do not like it. 7th, 8th, 9th inning, and it's a no-hitter going, especially if the game's tied or you're down by 1 and you just need a guy on to get something started. I'm gonna say I don't know. Maybe if I was managing the team that had the no-hitter going, I would feel different about it. But I probably am so old school about this. I'm not gonna signal for my player to bunt. But if he takes it upon himself to bunt, especially if your first baseman and your third baseman are playing back, basically begging him to drop one down and get on base, yeah, you bet. I think when it comes down to it, I don't have a problem with that. So that one is. That one's got a lot of gray area to it. So there you go. There's our there's our breakdown of some of the unwritten rules. You may have some others that you know of. Tell us what you think about the unwritten rules that we've come up with, or tell us some of the other unwritten rules that you know of, and maybe we'll use some of them later on, give you our take on them.
Visit us at prospectsforsuccess.org. Follow us on any social media. See you at the ballpark.